questions, some quite provocative, but as we learned in the beginning, you never agree to do anything illegal. It's just, you don't hurt anybody. But over time, look back now, it's scary, even more now, knowing that I was around it. But I think what really scared me the most out of everything is when he asked me to kill the attorney general, and I said no right off the bat. It's not my gig. I don't want to go hurt anybody. So as soon as he asked me, I said no. And over the course of a meal with Mr. Shelby, he's continuously trying to pressure me into doing this. So I'm finding any kind of way to deflect. I want to work through the winter or the summer and wait 6 to 8 months because I don't want to have anything to do with this assassination plot. It's not just not going to solve anything. It's stupid. But I'm intimidated at this point that now I feel like I need to buy this guy this gun. And it's not the fact that, I didn't know if he was an informer or whatnot. It's just that, if someone's asking you to kill a public official, it's not something you're asked every day. And at that point, seeing that this guy, took pictures fighting ISIS and these videos and everything, I'm thinking, hey, he's also possibly a biker. He's got all these guns and all this stuff. At this point, I'm too intimidated and I've got to get this guy this gun. But I refuse to partake in any, strategies or attacks, as everyone found out, I never even threw a pebble, I never did anything, but I was intimidated and, and yeah, I own it. Yeah, I bought the gun, but I wouldn't have done it if, I wasn't scared of the dude and, what eventually came down the line. It was, and even though it was bad, I have to always look, it wasn't just me. I'm just a person who knows a little more than other people, who found out more, and it's not about me. I don't think I deserved a felony, but that's neither here or there.
What did they end up charging you with? And I think you're on probation now.
Yeah, transferring a firearm to a felon with the FBI's money. It's I wouldn't commit to any violence or whatnot, but it's like, hey, we've got to tag this big payday on this guy. Say, hey, we caught someone, but altogether you intimidated me into buying a gun for a dude, and you gave me your money to do it. So.
Universal health care, raising the minimum wage. If you want clean water, clean air, clean food, people. If you are a doer of the deed, I want you to stand up to your feet right now. We have courage enough, conviction enough, people power enough to stand up and do what is right for ourselves. I am unbought and unbought.
Hello and welcome to Unbossed. I'm Nina Turner, but you already know that. And I am so glad that you are here and in the co-host seat today. First time on the show, A.B. Burns Tucker, who is a frequent commentator on the TYT network. A.B., it is such a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm honored.
Yes, exciting stuff. And we have a rip-roaring show, per usual. AB and I will be talking about what is happening in East Palestine. We're going to continue that conversation. We will not let this community's suffering be swept under the rug. We have a WTF neoliberal will be named today. Can you guess who that is? He is the one that has been the most WTF neoliberal since we started this category. And later in the show, Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene opens her damn mouth yet again. Y'all need to come and get her, but she's still there. So we're gonna talk about the lunacy that is Marjorie Taylor Greene. And don't forget to subscribe, call a friend or a friend of me, or send them a text message, baby. Let them know one of the best hours of their day is happening right now. Subscribe, send the link to folks. You got to share all of this good news. So we're gonna start off in my home state of Ohio, East Palestine, Ohio. And the situation that devastated the families, it is still happening there. Check out this headline. East Palestine residents told water was safe after sloppy testing paid for by rail company. We're not getting any truth, said one resident who is now planning to move away from the town. Now, nobody should feel like they forced to move away from their town. When you have the fox guarding the hen house. In other words, to allow the railroad company to do water testing and then tell the people of this community that the water is safe. Oh yeah, everybody's spidey senses should be tingling. Or in my case, my Wakanda senses are tingling on this. Now, thousands of people in East Palestine, Ohio have been assured by the State Environmental Protection Agency and Republican Governor Mike DeWine that the town's municipal water has not been contaminated by the train derailment that took place in the town earlier this month. But the only publicly available data comes from testing that was funded by the company behind the crash. Now, so if you having a moment, you are not by yourself. As HuffPo reported late Friday, the Dallas-based consulting firm AECOM contracted with Norfolk Southern, which operates the 150 car train that was carrying the toxic chemical vinyl chloride, to sample water from 5 wells and from treated municipal water. And we want to thank Common Dreams. Julia, you're on the point. Now, according to aquatic economist Sam Bickley, the results are suspect. And I agree with Sam on this. Their results that claim there were no contaminants is not a reliable finding. I find this extremely concerning because these results would not, capitalize, underline, bold, underscore, exclamation point, message in a bottle on the train, would not be used in most scientific applications because the samples were not preserved properly. And this is the same data they are now relying on to say that the drinking water is not contaminated. Now, we got that from the aquatic ecologist. He said, don't believe the hype, basically. Let me just go and dress that up for you. Don't believe the hype of this company that's trying to COA, cover they behind. Y'all know what the A stands for. I'm gonna try to keep it as PG as I can. It's kind of hard. The testing was done on February the 10th, 7 days after the train derailed, and authorities began a controlled release of vinyl chloride, a carcinogen, to avoid an explosion. Now I want y'all to think about this. You ain't gotta be a rocket science to understand what is being reported here. The burning of vinyl chloride can send hydrogen chloride and phosgene into the environment. The former chemical has been known to cause throat, eye, and skin irritation, and the latter can cause vomiting and difficulty breathing. Now, I do want you to check out what the state senator from the area had to say when he was interviewed on Fox News. Take a look.
Michael Ruley, Republican Ohio State Senator who represents East Palestine. It is great to have you on the program. What's your first reaction from what you've heard now from the governor of your state?
Good morning, Harris. I think a lot of things he said really hit home. I really like the clinic opening up. I think we have to address the mental health aspect of it. Some of the things I don't agree on, but I think for the most part it was pretty solid.
What don't you agree on?
Well, I've been there 4 times. I live about 10 minutes away from ground zero. And every time I leave, I get a sore throat.
Senator Ruley laid it out. He said, now I agree with some of the stuff the governor putting out there and some of it I don't agree with it. Guess what? I'm getting a sore throat myself. So again, don't believe the hype. So EB, some of your thoughts about what we're hearing so far and what, I'm sure you can understand as I do why the people of St. Palestine are not happy right now.
Absolutely. So I guess on the one hand, I would say, see, this is what happened. My grand used to tell me, when you think fat meat, not greasy. Because on the one hand, when you think about the fact that 70% or close to 70% of the county's population did vote for the repo rights, who were the main ones who took out the protections for these trains, right? So now it goes to show you, be mindful of what you are voting for and be mindful of the leadership around you. So that's the first part, is that why would we expect this train company to go and put out adequate testing when they could be held legally liable later, right? So when you think about, there are potential torts in this situation that the residents could likely sue for, because we do not know how this explosion or how the materials are going to affect them long term. There could be tort litigation that comes up later. So I wouldn't trust the testing that they're doing right now. I would definitely CYA, get a second opinion, and make sure everything is, everything is everything in that particular sense. In addition to that, when we're talking about the control burn, I think that, that was a tough situation, right? You had the option between allowing the explosion to continue and not being able to contain it, and then doing the control burn and being able to monitor the air quality at that time. So my understanding is that leadership is saying that they've been monitoring the air quality, real time, and it's not that dangerous. But then what about the water? And I think the water system is more concerning, right? Because they need that water to drink. Those residents use that water to take care of their animals, to take care of their land and the things that they need to survive. And we have yet to see a politician go and take a drink of the water there. So I think that is a real issue. In addition to, let's not forget, when we have these water issues, all of a sudden they get kicked to the wayside, because Flint still don't got good water. Jackson, Mississippi still don't have good water, right? So we need to be very mindful and stay on top of these legislators, and not just allow them to blame the train company, not just allow them to blame Norfolk Southern, right? Because they are not the only responsible party in this matter. So I think all of those things combined, the residents should be very upset. And I guess we'll see them at the polls in 2024, right?
Yeah, well, even before we get there, AB, they got to bring some relief to the people of this city. And I get it, for me, I don't care who they voted for. The Democrats are in control right now, and these people cannot be left high and dry. And you're absolutely right. We do have a water crisis in this country, from Jackson to Flint to now what's happening in East Palestine, and soil concerns too, because this stuff will absolutely stay in the soil for many, many years to come. And it was refreshing to see Senator Rule not just agree totally with the governor, but to say, hey, my people need more than that, because that is his job, to advocate on behalf of his constituents. Now, the Biden administration said in a press call Friday that Norfolk Southern has not been solely behind the testing that has been conducted so far. So that is good to hear and to know, although not much has been released publicly. Now, a spokesperson told reporters, quote, it's been with the Columbiana County Health Department collecting samples along with Norfolk Southern and sending those as split samples to 2 different labs for verification. All right, so if that's the case, then, but don't go in there and tell the folks the water is safe when you don't 100% know whether or not the water is safe. And I think your point, AB, about no politicians drank the water, which is clearly a sign. I would not drink that water. They shouldn't go drink that water. I think one of the most terrible times in the President Obama, administration is when he went to Flint, Michigan, and was drinking that daggone water. And that water was not cleaned in. He should not have done it. That was an error on his part. You don't just sit up there and play with people's water. So again, I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, and I don't care how you identify culturally, racially, ethnically. Don't play with folks' water, because water is life. So you're right, that is a sign. They ain't drunk the water. They better not. Don't drink the water. We don't need that kind of show and tell. We need them to get these people some clean water stat. So it is definitely understandable why the East Palestine community would be leery of what they are being told. They haven't got, the only report that they've gotten so far publicly is what the company, the consultants that Norfolk Southern are paying, that they paid for, the testing they paid for, and as AB laid out, they gonna try to cover up they behind because they don't want to be sued. They're gonna be sued anyway. Lawsuits are pending right now. Folks are suing right now. So it's just a matter of time. They going to court. They might as well just go and get ready for that. Buckle in, buckle up for this roller coaster ride. You are gonna be sued, Norfolk Southern, and rightfully so. And I hope to God the residents of East Palestine actually win against your behind, they're gonna sue you. You're gonna be sued, so get ready. And they already know it, AB, they know they're gonna be sued. So they should be leery, and I don't blame them. It took really too long for the government, both the state government and the federal government, to act. And speaking of acting, it is so wonderful to see how independent media is really coming through. Independent media like TYT. But right now in particular, I'm talking about independent media source, The Lever. And they did an amazing, and I mean amazing job of pressing this issue in their coverage and calling out the Biden administration, especially that guy, Secretary Pete Buttigieg, for their inaction, for not doing his job. They drove the narrative. Independent media forced mainstream media to pick up the narrative so that these folks will not be forgotten. Lever Weekly driving the narrative. The Lever got the media to cover the real story behind the toxic train disaster in Ohio. And a sampling of the stories the Lever covered, highlighting what was happening in East Palestine, Ohio. Here's a headline: over 1,000 trains derail every year in America. Let's bring that number down, and we should bring that number down. And I want you guys to know, when Mr. Buttigieg was at a forum, he kind of joked that this number of trains had derailed in justification. He's trying to justify that what happened in East Palestine was just one of them things, because trains derail all the time. And that is no way for the Secretary of Transportation to comport himself. He needs to act like this is his family that's in jeopardy. Maybe that might get some more fire under him. Put back up those headlines, please. Biden, Department of Justice back in Norfolk Southern's bid to block lawsuit. We covered that last week, that there is a rail worker who is suing this company. And you got the Biden administration, the Department of Justice backing up the company. Something is absolutely wrong with that. And then Buttigieg pretends he's powerless to reduce train derailments, when we know good and well he is not powerless to do so. He can do something about it. Now let's put up a tweet from David Sirota. One of the jobs of the Lever is to do such good reporting that larger legacy media outlets feel compelled to belatedly report the same stories, giving them the attention they deserve and also the attention that they need. And so we see these headlines. One is coming from Common Dreams, the other one from the Washington Post. And it is because the Lever kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And certainly other independent media outlets pushed too. Yours truly, we did it here. Other shows on TYT pushed it as well. And then other independent media not associated with TYT did it. So for those of you who support independent media, thank you so very much, because we will tell the stories that others will not tell. And if you are not a member of the Lever, okay, you need to go ahead and go and sign up. This next tweet from David Sirota: in today's New York Times, at Lever shows the Obama and Trump officials helping lobbyists block the rail safety rules, and we show at Joe Biden and at Secretary Pete refusing to fix the problem. Stop defending politicians, start demanding regulators take action. And Sirota is absolutely right. It just boggles my mind that so many politicians got all these damn cheerleaders when they doing wrong in their capacity. Yes, Trump administration did overturn some of the regulations from the Obama administration, but the Obama administration capitulated to the railroads too. So you got Obama administration, you got the Trump administration, you got the Biden administration. This all happening over a 10-year period. So guess what, sisters and brothers and family and friends? Ain't nobody got clean hands here. Nobody has clean hands here. And just as the Trump administration overturned some of what the Obama administration did, then why can't the Biden administration use this power and turn it back around and go even deeper in terms of making it better for the workers and for the people of this country and not the owner donors? I don't understand why Trump got so many magical powers, but yet this administration acts like they have no power whatsoever. I'm trying to understand that. Maybe somebody in the comments can help Sister Turner understand that, because I really do want to understand that. And guess what? Speaking of magical powers, Trump is scheduled to visit East Palestine on Wednesday. Now, let me tell you something. The man is going there for political reasons. Let's just go and put that out there. We get it, like he's running. But he's going there for political reasons. If you understand where I'm coming from, sometimes good politics The man is going there because guess what? President Biden has not been there. Secretary Pete Buttigieg has not been there, but Trump is going there. Makes absolutely no sense to me. You know what? I can't even hate on President Trump for going there. If I was him, I'd go there too. The Democrats just gave him a wide opening. Just a wide open of just showing a lack of care and concern for what these folks, with these poor white folks, are going through in this city. Guess what, poor people of all identities and ethnicities? Baby, if you're poor, okay, the system don't care about you. And there will always be a day of reckoning. And in the city of East Palestine, this is a day of reckoning. Shame on the Biden administration. President Biden over there in Ukraine, when he should be in Ohio. Hello, somebody. Pete ain't been there yet. But he come up and making up all these excuses about how powerless he is. If he's that powerless, lead a job, lead the position. We need somebody that's gonna use power in a way that changes people's lives, that can empathize with people's suffering. And baby, when your water and your soil and your air is toxic, you need help. 911. 911. What's your emergency? A train full of chemicals just derailed in my neighborhood and I need some help. What kind of help do you need? I need help from the state government and I need help from the federal government stat. That didn't happen. Buttigieg didn't even respond to this until 10 days later. Lead a job, dude. You wasn't that good as mayor. And we all know why you got this position, because you caved in during the presidential election of 2020, and this position is your payback. You are unqualified, sir, to be the Secretary of Transportation. Now, if ain't nobody told you, Senator Turner letting you know right now, you are unqualified, sir. You in over your head. So President Trump is going up in that piece. He'll be in my state on Wednesday. So it's a shame. My stunt double had to weigh in. I guess we ain't got to hear from the stunt double because you just heard from me, but we're gonna go ahead and put up what she put up. The lack of urgency from national Democrats to visit East Palestine has left a void that national Republicans are jumping up to fill. They will take control of a narrative, and lost in all will be the needs of the people of East Palestine. That is the saddest part of this, because when you start getting those politicians like that going all up in there, because Trump is gonna just he gonna do Trump. And the people of this great city, they're gonna be left out of the narrative unless people like you, people like me and others continue to lift them up and push these people with all of this power to use the power that they have and stop acting like they powerless. Hell, I got more expectation of my two toddlers that are in my life than we do of these politicians. And David Sirota was right. Stop cheering on these politicians and force them to do their damn job. Pat them on the back once they do their job, but then don't pat them on the back too long, because that's what they signed up for. They supposed to do their job. Stop standing for these folks. I ain't quite got to pull out the fire extinguisher, so I'm gonna take a break before that time comes. All right, I'm gonna see y'all on the other side.
Welcome to the Damage Report. I'm John Idarola. This is gonna be a big one. Meanwhile, in the Arctic, you know where this is going. You watch the Damage Report, the Arctic's on fire. Obviously, why would we be talking about the Arctic except to tell you that it's melting once again? The Republicans aren't that interested in it. I wonder why. Lift out of poverty up to 3.7 million people, including an estimated 1.3 million children. Hashtag save the children. Not if it costs money. I mean, come on.
What's happening? I'm Dr. Rashad Richey, host of Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Richey. Here's the bottom line. I play no games about policy, period. Too many people's lives are at stake. So here's what I do. I challenge conservative ideology that hinders the growth of this country. I make sure we place our facts in proper context, and I have no problem debating anyone on a position that I have. Progressives have the ideas to change the world, but when you really look at it, progressives have always change this world for the better. I want you to tune into my new show, Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Richey, right here on the TYT Network, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Time. I'll see you there.
Everything that we've accomplished over the years is because of our members who've allowed us to remain independent of corporate interests and reach 20 million followers. Now is the time to bring as many people into the progressive movement as possible. We're inviting you to be the change and help bring a community-powered progressive change machine to life. Details are at tyt.com/change. If you're a member, thank you. We need you to remain so. If you're one of the thousands of viewers out there who's not a member yet, the time has come for you to join now. We need you more than ever. tyt.com/change.
Welcome back to the show. I'm just a little, not much. Y'all know I'm still raring to go. We're gonna do some live reads first, and then we're gonna get to my absolute favorite part of the show, and that is your comments. Indisputable podcast. Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Richey is the fastest growing TV show in the country. From politics and policy to social justice, Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Richey has got you covered. Bring the show with you and listen to full episodes on Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to give the show 5 stars. Why don't y'all do that for Dr. Rashad Richey? He breaks it down too. Now on to your comments. We're gonna start with our TYT members first. Hoover, hey Hoover baby, how you doing? Warren Buffett and the rest of the rail barons need to realize their money doesn't go with them to the grave. You got that right, Hoover. Perhaps if they understood that, they'd actually invest in rail safety and pay sick leave for their employees. In the meantime, they should be held accountable as accessories to environmental crimes. I am right with you on that, Hoover. In the meantime, in between time, while they walking on this plane of existence, they ought to be held accountable by the state and federal government for their crimes against humanity. You dang right about that. And on Twitch, Melanie, hey Mel. Nina Turner, 2024, hello somebody with exclamation point. Hello somebody. Melanie, don't you start none, it won't be none, girl. You know this country ain't ready. They just are not ready. Now you wanna talk about magic, the black girl magic is real. We work for it though, don't we, AB? You don't just come, but we work hard for it, but it is real, okay? Dengar Dragon, hey DD Dragon. Senator Nina Turner, AKA the Black Pearl Dragon, I sense fire coming. You better believe it, baby. At all times, my hair is on fire. And Restore Dragon, Dems battle cry. There's nothing we can do. You better go ahead on Restore Dragon. Ain't that the truth? That's all they know how to say. They run around the country, elect us, elect us, elect us. We're gonna do different, we'll do better, we'll go deeper than the Republicans. And then as soon as they get the power, we can't do nothing. Well, get the hell out the way. Let somebody who can do something run the government. That's what this really comes down to, okay? And neoliberalism cannot beat neo-fascism. That's why we in the situation we are in right now. But you right, Restore Dragon. That is their battle cry. We can't do nothing. And the skin. Hey, the skin. I think this is the first time I'm reading a comment from you. I'm so glad you are watching us today. Senator Turner, A. Shiro. Well, thank you, baby. I receive all of that. And I just want to thank each and every one of you. I know we couldn't get to all the comments, but just thank you so much for tuning in and for your support of Unbossed and the TYT network. We couldn't do what we do without you, boo. You know this. Oh, I sigh deeply. Y'all know I try not to sigh, but when I sigh, you know this is some serious business. Biden's ill-timed visit to the Ukraine has me asking, WTF, neoliberal?
We will now kneel.
Miss Cinema, no.
You have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
This morning, President Biden crossing into the war zone. Unprecedented security in the capital, Kyiv, as all major roads are sealed off. Hundreds of armed police and army lining the streets. Ukraine low on ammunition and firepower. Today, Biden announcing more military aid.
Freedom is priceless. It's worth fighting for for as long as it takes. And that's how long we're going to be with you, Mr. President, for as long as it takes.
We'll do it.
Thank you.
I agree with the president. I do. Freedom is priceless. And I'm certainly glad that the United States is showing ourselves to be a true ally with the Ukraine people, because if it was happening to us, we want Ukraine and others to come to our rescue. Freedom is indeed priceless, sisters and brothers and family and friends. But what about the freedom to be able to live a good life in this country? What about the freedom to be able to afford your groceries or your rent or your mortgage? What about the freedom to be able to have sick time on your job? What about the freedom to know that your children and your children's children will have a better outlook on life than you have today? What about that freedom? This president could take a page out of President FDR's book, all right? And President FDR was not perfect. We understand that. We're gonna put that in the parking lot. I'm not here to talk about that today. But during World War II, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt had enough common sense, as my grandma used to say, and maybe your grandmas did too, common sense ain't common, to know that the American people were fatigued from being on the battle line, the battlefields, literally and figuratively in World War II. And he vowed to the American people, this sacrifice you making, we're gonna take care of you at home. He talked about the freedom from want, abroad and at home. The New Deal of the 1940s was born because of some of this stuff. He didn't just dilly-dally and go down the yellow brick road in World War II and other people's lands without understanding that the American people needed some stuff too. Now you're gonna hear me talk about this ad nauseum, because I firmly believe that for every dollar, billions of dollars that we send over there to Ukraine, we need to be spending it here. He done sold out the rail workers by not letting them have their sick time, putting them rail barons on notice. No, but he asked Congress to act, and they can't even go on strike. Inflation is still running rampant. 63% of Americans still living paycheck to paycheck. They can't afford eggs, but they barely can afford chicken wings. Chicken wings cheaper than eggs. What in the hell? See, this is the kind of stuff that we talking about, freedom fighters talk about. Dalloping over there, you could have stopped that jet. Air Force One could have stopped in East Palestine, Ohio. But oh no, he all up over there. Lord have mercy on my soul. AB, go on and jump in here. I got more to say, but I'm just gonna let you get on in here.
I mean, freedom might be pricey, but it's getting real expensive for the American people.
You better say that.
You know, I mean, and I wholeheartedly agree that the same money that we are sending over there to Ukraine, we could be investing here in America. I mean, we have been crying about student loan relief, right? Another type of relief that the American citizens need here. And I mean, it's seemingly impossible. We're tied up in our courts with it. And once again, we get the, well, there's nothing we can do right now, or we're gonna give you a little bit here, we're gonna put a little bit on it, we're gonna put 10% on it today, but you're giving 90% over to Ukraine, which again, I do understand why we are fighting and why we are supporting Ukraine, and I'm not discrediting that at all. But what I'm also saying is we can't forget about home, because without home here, without the American people being on board with what's going on, y'all don't have the money to send to Ukraine, right? When you think about inflation, it's coming out of our pockets, right? When you think about the corporations are fighting you to not even pay a fair share of taxes, when if they did that, we can offset some of the issues that we have. We got a problem here first. And so my issue with that is, again, it's cool that you over there and you showing, P, that, hey, we strong too, we got this, we sticking together. But at what point do you stick with the American people here, with the country that is keeping us afloat, with the country that voted for you to be our leader and our commander in chief? And we are sitting here letting you know we are unhappy, right? We are struggling, we are starving in some places, right? People don't got clean water, all right, from here and there. The gas is burning, there's fires all over California. And yet every single day we get headlines about billions of dollars, millions of dollars being shipped over to Ukraine to help them fight this war. We gonna have to find another way. Now, somebody gonna have to dip in their pocketbook and sprinkle some on the American people, hold us off for a minute, because we look real revolutionary. That's all I'm gonna say.
I know that's right, AB. Let the sprinkling begin. We need to sprinkle some of that on the American people. I know that's right. Yes. President Biden and Mr. Buttigieg should have immediately made the visit to East Palestine and seen the aftermath for themselves. Not read about it, not talk about it in the luxury of the White House or in the Capitol, but actually take your behind, gas up the jet, take Air Force One, and come on into Ohio. Come on in here. They should have did that. They have yet to do that. They failed in that. They're failing right now to regulate the rail industry right this moment. They can put a stop to it anytime they want to. The power is absolutely in their hands. And as for the Ukraine, let's put up this headline. In a surprise visit to Kyiv, Biden approves $500 million in aid as war nears 1 year mark. I want to know, what is the plan to end this war? Inquiring minds want to know. I'm sure I'm not the only one that wants to know. AB wants to know it too. The people in East Palestine, they want to know too. People in Chicago, Illinois, hello somebody, they want to know too. People in Iowa want to know. People in California want to know. People in South Dakota, North Dakota, they want to know. People in New Hampshire, they want to know. Okay, they want to know all over the country. What's the plan? We already near a year in. The assistance package announced by the US president includes anti-tank missiles and other weaponry. Again, we have long said, I'm saying it ad nauseum. We get it, we support Ukraine, we are allied to Ukraine, and we got to get in there because Putin is wrong all day long and twice on Sundays. But really, for every dollar that goes over there, they need to sprinkle like that. They need to do some sprinkling over here in the United States of America. So far in this space, do you want to know how much of our tax dollars has? I'm glad you asked. We're gonna tell you that the US has provided over 100 billion with a B, capitalize it, underscored, exclamation point, message in the bottle on the train. Over $100 billion in support to the Ukraine. Let's put up this graphic, team, please. US aid to the Ukraine so far tops $112 billion. Congress approved more than $112 billion in aid to Ukraine in 4 spending bills last year. More than half of that aid is for military assistance. So let me get this right. They were able to spend that money, but they weren't able to renew the child tax credit. Please make it make sense for me. And they did that in a very bipartisan way, but sitting up here playing games with the child tax credit. Couldn't renew that. Couldn't be bothered. Couldn't be bothered to pass universal health care. Couldn't be bothered to increase the federal minimum wage. Couldn't be bothered to do any of them things. But baby, when it comes to war, they are always ready, willing, and able to make war. And there's nothing about war that can bring peace. Hello, somebody? Where's the diplomacy? I'm old enough to remember when the Congressional Progressive Caucus wrote a little note, and folks on the neoliberal side got all up in arms, and then they rescinded the note and tried to blame the intern for writing the note. And all they were saying is, let's have some diplomacy. It was nothing wrong with it. And I only remember one congressperson standing up, and that was Congressman Ro Khanna, saying he didn't see nothing wrong with the note, and he was right. There wasn't nothing wrong with the note. The Congressional Progressive Caucus needs to grow a spine. That's what they need to do. But I'm gonna say that for another story. Meanwhile, in the States, people of East Palestine are suffering the child tax credit, all that stuff that I just said. For perspective, check out this tweet from Dr. Robert Reich. I guess we didn't have, I wish we could have put up our graphic there, but we got Dr. Robert Reich. 12 billion, the cost of expanding the child tax credit to 19 million children who had not been able to receive full benefits. You see that? You see that, America? That's Dr. Robert Reich, former labor secretary under President Bill Clinton. 12, so anybody know the numbers? Dr. Robert Reich knows the numbers. Okay, 12 billion, the cost of expanding the child tax credit to 19 million children who have not been able to receive the full benefits. $12 billion. Let me see, $112 billion, 12 billion. Okay, see that math ain't mathing. I'm quoting Andrew Yang. The secretary goes on in his tweet, 858 billion. The cost of the latest defense bill, $12 billion for 19 million children. AB, you see where I'm going with this? $12 billion for 19 million children versus $858 billion, the cost of the latest defense budget, and $112 billion and counting to the Ukraine. Can we guess? Can you guess which one Congress claimed it can't afford to fund? These special people. Woo! I almost said something. These special people decided that funding the military-industrial complex was more important than than extending the child tax credit, renewing and extending that child tax credit for 19 million children in this country. I'm gonna tell you something, it is a stain. It is a shame and it is a stain on this country, America. And we gotta stop letting these people do this kind of stuff in our name. We all should be ashamed. It's a stain on this country. So with regards to the war, Biden's administration, along with other world leaders involved in the efforts, would be wise to follow President Lula of Brazil. Put up this headline: Lula calls for peace at meetings with Russia and Ukraine representatives. President Lula, thank you for having the intestinal fortitude to call on peace, because this war can't go on forever. We can't afford it mentally, physically, spiritually, or economically. Cannot afford it. Thank you, President Lula. Intestinal fortitude. A lot of these leaders ain't got much of it. All right, we go on to Moderna. Moderna reverses course. Take a look at this.
You wrote a letter to Moderna about this, and in this, you called the price hike that they're considering outrageous. I also want to read for you what we, at least so far, have heard from Moderna about this. The CEO telling the Wall Street Journal on Monday, I would think this type of price is consistent with the value of the vaccine.
What you're seeing here in Moderna is the tip of the iceberg in terms of what goes on with the pharmaceutical industry. We pay by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. In some cases, 10 times more, the same exact drug sold in other countries. In terms of Moderna, here's the story. This vaccine was discovered in partnership with the NIH, with a government agency supported by the taxpayers of this country.
There it is. Senator Sanders hits all the nails on the head. We helped to pay for the discovery of the vaccine. And as long as the feds were purchasing the vaccine, it was about $26. As soon as the feds are no longer purchasing it, Moderna wanted to take it up to $130. So Moderna in January was originally planning to hike this price, hike the price of the vaccine by about 400%. The pharmaceutical giant could raise the price of the vaccine from its current $26 per dose to between $110 and $130 per shot, according to the Wall Street Journal. We old enough to remember that. That just happened. And after immense pressure from Senator Sanders, see, this is how you use power. He ain't sitting up there talking about he helpless because he ain't the president of the United States. He could have been the president of the United States of America, but I ain't gonna relitigate 2020 on the show today because I ain't got time. I'm almost out of time. But after immense pressure from Senator Sanders, Moderna woke up to the reality of its dangerous plan. More perfect union. Breaking, Moderna says it will keep its COVID vaccine free for all people in the US, reversing course of its planned 400% price increase one day after Bernard Sanders said he would force the CEO to testify. You're damn right we're gonna force the CEO to testify. He ain't want none of this smoke though. And see, that is just yet one example of many of how keeping the pressure on gets us change instead of going along to get along and dilly and dally and skip to the loo down the yellow brick road and pretending like you don't have no power while people are suffering. Good on you, Senator Bernard Sanders, for making it plain. I'm hauling you in here. Senator Sanders is the chair of the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, and it is clear that he is striking fear in these corrupt CEOs. I wish he had some help. Looking at you sideways, President Biden. Not ashamed to say it, AB. But of course, Moderna isn't alone. Let's put up this headline. Pfizer is in the club too, expects to hike US COVID vaccine price to $110 to $130 per dose. Haul them in too, Senator Sanders. All these mofos need to be hauled in. This is corporate greed, and it is most disgusting. And if this wasn't a family show, I have other choice words. As I remind you time and time again, on Unbossed, we don't play games. We give these stories the requisite emotion that it deserves. It really is a sin and a shame that this corporate greed, this gluttony, that they would try to make profit off other people's pain. I mean, extreme profit, okay? Because I get it. Businesses are in business, make profit, but extreme, excessive profits. When the American people paid for the vaccine, they got some nerve. My grandmother used to say, more nerve than a brass A monkey. That particular saying of grandma is like on time most of the time. So I will be saying it a lot. More nerve than a brass A monkey. And you know where they get that nerve from? They get it from these politicians because they own them. So good on you, Senator Bernard Sanders. Put up this headline: the COVID pandemic drives Pfizer's 2022 revenue to a record $100 billion with a B. Ladies and gentlemen, sisters and brothers, family and friends, let's put up this next headline. JPM 23, Moderna reaped 18.4 billion in COVID vaccine sales last year, projects at least 5 billion in 2023. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Once again, it is a stark reminder that we need universal health care in America. We need it, we got to have it. We do. Put up this last headline: universal health care could have saved more than 333,000 US lives during the pandemic. But we ain't gonna be bothered with saving lives as long as we can just help these robber barons make all the money that they need, even if people die. That's what this is coming down to. AB?
Yeah, I just wish they would have borrowed some of these billions from these corporations instead of taking the money from us to fund these wars.
Hey.
Because America, we need a loan, and we clearly know who to get it from. And they keep coming to get it from the poor of us. They need to come take it from these people that got it to give and don't worry about if they're gonna get it back. That's what they need to do.
Woo, that is a word. We need a loan, and we can get that by the wealth tax. Just go on and tax these ultra wealthy people. I'm with you, man. You dropping all the knowledge today, AB, on the show. This chick right here. So we going from Moderna to Pfizer to this chick right here. Take a look.
Statues taken down in our country. I don't think you remove or erase history. So I do agree those statues shouldn't be taken down. They're part of our history. We should learn from our history. We don't erase it. But that doesn't make me a racist because I say leave the statue up there. If I were Black people today and I walked by one of those statues, I would be so proud because I'd say, look how far I have come in this country. Look how far my people have, what they have overcome. And these are good things.
I just can't with this chick. If she were Black, but you're not Black. Gonna put AB up. We about to have this conversation. The chick fixed her mouth. Let me calm down.
Calm down for what?
The chick, AB, fixed her mouth to say if she was Black, she would be proud. Let me get this straight. You would be proud to see Confederate reminders of the enslavement of your ancestors. That's pretty much what this chick is saying. Y'all, America, do you hear her? And no, we don't want to erase history like your governor in Florida does. The sanctimonious wants to erase history. Abbott wants to erase history. A whole bunch of your cousins want to erase history. No, we don't want to erase history. But what we don't want to do if we Black is walk down highways and byways and see Confederate statues up all over the place celebrating, first of all, the damn losers because they lost. Thank God. That's number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And number 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, they ceded the Union. They racist behinds over slavery. Because they wanted to keep Black bodies, Black minds, Black hearts, Black souls in shackles and chains. And if you were Black, you would be proud. Look, keep that mess in a museum, but we don't want to see it walking up and down the damn street. Those statues should have never been put up in the first place. It is a stain on America, Representative. How the hell do people like this get elected? So I want to hear her say she don't want to erase history. Go on, Representative. Go ahead and call your boy in Florida, the sanctimonious, as President Trump calls him. We got that name right. And tell him to stop trying to erase Black history. Will you do that? Since you all about preserving history. AB, go ahead, jump on in here. I am hot to trot right now.
I mean, I'm at a loss for words. First and foremost, when do we start celebrating the losers? So let's start there. They shouldn't get a trophy because they lost and they got toe up from the flow up. So let's remember that part. On top of that, for you to say, if I was a Black person, I would be proud. Proud of the fact that y'all lost and proud of the fact that we had to step up and pull up to make sure it was cool. Then proud of the fact that in addition to that, y'all put every which code, every which statute, every which legal and policy to make sure we stayed behind y'all because y'all poor white ones didn't want to be behind us because you knew we had the ability and the strength to go further in this country. And if we got the power that we needed to get, you would no longer be in power. I'm just trying to figure out how I get one of them House seats because y'all handing them out like Tic Tacs at this point.
AB. Oh, that preaches. I'm telling you, unbossed viewers, I done had it, okay? AB and I had it. I'm talking for AB now. We done had it. This circus must come to an end. Georgia, get you, Lord, Georgia, why? Would you do this to us? I just don't understand it. So just so everybody is clear, so it's not bad enough what the chick just said. She said it with a straight face, and that doesn't make me racist. The fact that you had to say that doesn't make you racist. Knows that you know 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 that you are a bigot, woman, and you are racist. You are a white supremacist. That's what you are. So go ahead and own it and wear it with your weak self. So now, just so that everybody's clear, this is what Marjorie Taylor Greene stated. If I were Black, she said it, you heard her, I'm just repeating it. If I were Black people today, and I walked by one of them statues, I would be so proud. Because I'd say, look how far I've come in this country. Ooh, lady, what I wanna call you right now is not allowed. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Okay, so AB and I, we did that. But at the end of the day, you know what? She right in line with the founding of this country. You know, I wish I could say she was outlier, but she's not. She right in line. Now, because she is living, breathing proof that this country has not come as far as she states, because this chick put out this tweet. Let's put it up so all can see. We need a national divorce. We need to separate by red states and blue states. Now, this sounds eerily familiar to me. I think this happened already in the country. They didn't call them blue states and red states, but about slave states and quasi-free states. Okay, but I ain't got time for the history lesson. Let her stay up. We need a divorce, national divorce. We need to separate by red states and blue states and shrink the federal government. Everyone I talk to says this. Woman, you ain't talk to me. So it can't be everyone. You ain't talk to every. When you say everybody you talk to, well, you're talking to the wrong people. From the sick and disgusting woke culture, and she means Black, but she don't have the intestinal fortitude to say it, so I'm gonna fill it in for you. Issues shoved down our throats to Democrats' treacherous America's last policies. We are done. Lady, this woman is proposing that red states break off from the United States of America. As I said, if she understood history, that has already been tried before. A whole civil war was fought because of this very thing. The 11 southern states that ceded the Union. The Civil War, 1861. Oh, the more things change, the more they stay the same. She's just this woman, yeah, she knows exactly what she's doing. Historically, she is not out of order. She's actually right on par with the foundation of this country. It is, but it's not our job. You know, this bigotry, we got to keep this bigotry in check, AB. I can't with this lady, and I won't. Lord,
somebody need to.
Every time.
Somebody need to with her. She need a lesson. She need a real good history lesson and a real good reality check. because y'all letting her run around and we ain't got time for it. And at this point, we need to make time for it because they think it's a game and it's not funny at all. And it's quite disrespectful. And for you to even have to say that doesn't make me a racist, that may not be the catalyst to your racism, but you are definitely racist and it's oozing out of your pores. So just understand that. You are definitely racist. The things that you say are racist. And the fact that you don't want to be educated on your racism makes you even further a racist.
Yeah, look up in the dictionary. You're gonna see Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is a shame, y'all. The woman is really taking us back in time. Like I said, we already been there, done that. She wants to go back and do it again. Ooh, Lord help us. I got to call on Black Jesus on this one. Now we go on to Nikki Haley. She has a warning for us. Take a look.
Republicans have lost the popular vote in 7 out of the last 8 presidential elections. That has to change. Some people look at America and see vulnerability. The socialist left sees an opportunity to rewrite history. China and Russia are on the march. They all think we can be bullied, kicked around. You should know this about me. I don't put up with bullies. And when you kick back, it hurts them more if you're wearing heels. I'm Nikki Haley, and I'm running for president.
I'm a sigh again. That commercial was corny, but that's what she wanted to do. When I kick back, it hurts harder with heels. Lord, help us, help us, help us. It's official. She's running, despite originally saying she wouldn't run if Trump does. Yep, she said, you know what, I'm going for it. This headline, Trump says he's glad Haley's running against him. The more, the merrier. Because that's how President Trump rolls. He's like, bring it on, the competition. Meanwhile, back on the Democratic Party side, well, y'all know, Trump says he's glad she's in. The more, the merrier. And it feels like, in other words, Trump is saying, the more fascism, the better, I guess. I mean, maybe that's what he means. We all remember that Haley served as ambassador to the UN under Trump. And at her first rally week in Charleston, South Carolina, Nikki said this.
But there's something else that's eating away at our national core. On Biden and Harris's watch, a self-loathing has swept our country. It's in the classroom, the boardroom, and the back rooms of government. Every day we're told America is flawed, rotten, and full of hate. Joe and Kamala even say America's racist. Nothing could be further from the truth. American people know better. My immigrant parents know better. And take it from me, the first minority female governor in history, America is not a racist country.
You want to talk about self-loathing? Hell, she changed her name to hide her ethnic heritage, but that was her right to do. So I'm not even going to dwell on that. America is not a racist country. Well, when the country was founded, Black folks was chattel. Maybe that might not be racism to you. I don't know what you call it. It's anti-Black racism. And even as the American Revolution was fought, when the so-called patriots were fighting for their freedom from the British crown, and they're talking about giving me, Patrick Henry, give me liberty or give me death. They still found a way to keep chattel slavery, even in the formation of this country. But oh no, the country ain't racist. We can talk about the wealth gap right now, the black-white wealth gap right now, today. We can talk about how in 2008, Black folks lost over half their wealth through their homes in the Great Recession. We can talk about these things that are happening right now, the health disparities between blacks and whites right now. But oh no, this country is not wealthy, but not racist, not at all. Nikki Haley, not by your standards. AB, we only got a little bit more time left on this. We're gonna have to come back and visit this sweetness, this chick. But what say you?
I guess I'm just wondering, like, how do you define racism? Because if we're not racist, then why are we having arguments about teaching critical race theory when really it's only taught in law schools, but y'all are bringing it up as if it's a public school A through G requirement? If we're not racist, how come Black men are the smallest portion of our general population, but they're the largest portion of our prison population and more likely to be wrongfully convicted? If we are not racist, why is it that states like Louisiana and Alabama are arguing in the Supreme Court about what it means to be a Black person when it comes to the census and voting? I mean, like, what do you consider racism at this point? Like, I have questions.
We do got questions for her, AB. Maybe she'll give us some answers because I'm sure she's a fan of this show. Thank you for adding to the long list, and we could keep going on this. We may just very well revisit this and give her a lesson. She needs a lesson. That Marjorie Taylor Greene needs a lesson. The Sanctimonious needs a lesson. Let's just go and teach the lessons that they want, because they want us to teach these lessons. They asking for us to teach these lessons. Oh, I'm so glad that you were here with us today. This was a rip-roaring show, y'all. I fire extinguisher. I sighed a few times. I'm gonna try not to let that happen tomorrow. You know what I want you to do about this time. I definitely want you to keep the faith, because we're gonna face all of this stuff together. But more importantly, I want you to keep the fight. Until next time.